useless skill turned out to be the best investment you ever made. When I was 14, my grandmother taught me how to forge signatures, not for anything illegal. She was a calligrapher who'd spent 40 years mastering handwriting for wedding invitations, certificates, and fancy documents. She showed me how to study the pressure points, the loops, the way people unconsciously tilt certain letters. Handwriting is a fingerprint, she told me. Learn to read it, and you'll understand people better than they understand themselves. My parents thought it was a waste of time. My dad wanted me focused on math and science, things that would get me into a good college. My mom said calligraphy was a dying art that wouldn't pay bills. But every summer, I spent 2 weeks at Grandma's house filling notebooks with practice strokes, studying historical documents, and learning to replicate signatures from presidents to celebrities. By the time I graduated high school, I could copy almost any handwriting style within a few hours of studying it. Everyone said it was a cool party trick, but completely useless in the real world. I went to college for accounting because that's what practical people did. Got a job at a mid-sized firm doing audits and tax returns. Boring, but stable. The handwriting thing became something I did for fun, personalizing birthday cards or impressing dates by writing their names in elaborate calligraphy. My coworkers thought it was quirky. My boss once joked that I should have been born 200 years ago when people actually wrote things by hand. I laughed along, but part of me wondered if Grandma's lessons really had been pointless. Then one day, everything changed. A client came in claiming his business partner had forged his signature on a contract worth $2.3 million. The partner was trying to force a buyout using documents the client swore he'd never signed. The lawyers were involved, experts were being hired, and the whole thing was heading to a nasty court battle. My boss mentioned it in passing during a meeting. Something about it nagged at me. That night, I asked if I could see copies of the disputed documents. My boss thought I was crazy, but he let me take them home. I spent 6 hours studying the signatures. The forger was good, really good. Most people would never notice anything wrong, but Grandma taught me to look deeper. The pressure was inconsistent on the downstrokes, something that happens when you're consciously controlling movement instead of writing naturally. The spacing between letters was mathematically even, which real handwriting never is, and the loops on the lowercase letters were closed at the bottom when genuine samples showed the client always left them slightly open. I wrote up a detailed analysis and handed it to my boss the next morning. He stared at me like I'd grown a second head. Then he called the client's lawyer. 2 weeks later, I was sitting in a conference room explaining my findings to a team of attorneys. They'd hired a professional forensic document examiner who confirmed everything I'd identified. The partner's case collapsed. He settled for pennies on the dollar and faced criminal fraud charges. Word spread fast in legal circles. Within 6 months, I'd been contacted by 4 different law firms asking if I'd consult on document cases. I started doing it on the side, charging $200 an hour to analyze signatures, detect forgeries, and provide expert testimony. My accounting colleagues thought I'd lost my mind chasing this weird side hustle. One guy said I was wasting my real skills playing handwriting detective, but the calls kept coming. Insurance fraud cases, will disputes, contract challenges, divorce proceedings where one spouse claimed the other forged financial documents. I built a reputation as the person who could spot what everyone else missed. The cases got bigger, the fees got higher. By year 3, I was charging $500 an hour and turning down work. Last year, I quit accounting entirely. I now run a forensic document analysis firm with 6 employees and contracts with insurance companies, law firms, and even government agencies. We've exposed fraud worth over $40 million in the past 2 years alone. My income went from $65,000 as an accountant to over $400,000 last year. The colleagues who mocked my useless skill are still grinding away at their desks doing tax returns. The guy who said I was wasting my real skills got laid off during budget cuts and asked me for a job. I hired him to handle our billing. My parents finally stopped asking when I'd go back to real work after I bought them a house. My dad admitted he was wrong, which might be the most valuable thing I've ever earned.